Welcome to Whangaparāoa College's Parent Information Evening. It's awesome to see so many of you here, both young and old. So thank you for making the effort to come out. I hope that tour gave you an insight to what goes on here, just a little taster of what your young people will be experiencing in the next year or two. Now we've got the bit where, for a fair bit, people talk at you. So you'll know how the kids feel in the classroom sometimes. We'll go through the range of people who run things. So we'll bring Mr. McCracken, the principal on, we'll bring on Director of Cultural Arts, we'll bring on the Dean, the head of Year 7, our head girl, a couple of parents who are really, really looking forward to the activity. Just to try and give you as much information as you can. There will be a time at the end for questions, but what we'll do as well is tea, coffee, biscuits will be served out in the foyer. If there's a question which is related to yourself, so just hold that question until you can grab one of us out there and do it that way. If there's something that's really holistic you want to ask, then there'll be a little bit of time with Mr. McCracken at the end of the evening just to ask that on stage. Does that make sense? Okay? Excellent. So, without further ado, I would like to please introduce Mr. Steve McCracken, Principal of Whangaparāoa College School, onto the stage.
It's amazing the amount of admin you have to do with masks these days, isn't it? Tēnā koutou katoa. No mai, haere mai. Welcome to Whangaparāoa College. As Mr. Williams has just outlined, my name's Steve McCracken and it gives me great pleasure and pride to be addressing you as Principal of Whangaparāoa College. 12 months ago I was standing here having only been in the role for about 10 days. Gives you an indication. And normally if a phone goes off, we'll ask the learner to put it on. No, we won't embarrass that person. But 12 months ago I was standing here, having only been at the college for about 10 days. About a week later, obviously we know what happened. Auckland went into that 3-month hiatus. And the rest, they say, is history. However, over the last 12 months we've been incredibly busy, obviously navigating the COVID-19 space. We've been incredibly careful and wanting to ensure safety of our students and our staff, and of course that learning and achievement is of the highest priority for all. We've also been busy implementing a new strategic plan and planning for what is a very, very bright future, some of which I'll share at big picture level very, very shortly. As we've been walking around this evening, some of your young people have been coming up to me and getting lollies. Never ever take lollies from a stranger. However, for those of you who are students of either Red Beach or Stanmore Bay, this morning I set you a challenge. And many of you remembered that particular challenge and were able to answer the questions, hence the little reward, not only for turning up, but for remembering and listening this morning. So now I'll challenge the parents. Ngātahi, whakapono, tūtuki. Together, believe, achieve. These are the foundations and cornerstones of Whangaparāoa College. With 17 years of history, evolution and growth intertwined in those cornerstones, our school is more well placed than ever to navigate the challenges that education faces, both from a regional and national level, but whilst not forgetting the roots of knowing and growing our learners. We believe we are the centre of our community and will continue to represent you, our community, the best that we possibly can. Our new strategic plan is exciting. We have 3 key foci for the next 5 years that are based on community feedback. We've already begun to implement a variety of initiatives over the last 12 months that bring this to life. A few highlights and most recent improvements that we've made are around the expectations that we have for our learners. We've taken on board both community, staff, and of course our learner feedback to being implemented and revising our school values, āhuatanga. On this slide, right there, no, it's vanished. That's always good, isn't it? It's vanished. However, we have 6 ahua, 6 values that will become more than words and that come directly from a group of learners. Each of these values will become a big part of how our young people grow and develop in their time with us. They'll be explicitly taught these values and what they mean for us as a collective and as individuals. Our values represent how we do things and how we act at Whangaparāoa College. We've also revised our attendance expectations. No matter whether you come to Whangaparāoa College or not, the importance of attending school and being present, both physically and mentally, is more important than ever as we navigate a different space. Sitting behind what you see on screen is the contact our staff have directly with you as whānau so that we can work as a collective to get the best possible educational outcomes and all-round outcomes for your child, our learners. To be a positive citizen that exhibits our values and the values of our community, there are at Whangaparāoa College behavioural expectations. Launched just to our community last week, we now have clarity for all with respect to behaviour whilst attending our school. It might look on the screen behind me complex or heavy, but realistically it's not. 99% of our learners will not even get past the bottom level of the pyramid. It's been hidden by the band equipment. However, we want you to know that our expectations are incredibly clear and transparent. We know that young people push the boundaries. We've all been there, done that, I'm sure. So these are our boundaries, and on the right-hand side there, you'll see the possible or potential consequences that will be available on our website by the end of this week. The intention of our strategy, the direction that we're heading, is to develop our school into an even better school than what it is currently. Having worked personally in a number of schools in Auckland and overseas, what I know is that the future of Whangaparāoa College is incredibly exciting and incredibly positive. We have an amazing staff, amazing resources, and amazing community, some of which have been on display for you this evening. I want our school to be the centre of our community. We want our young people in the community attending this school. We want to know and grow our young people, your precious, precious young people, to be the best that they possibly can. So in summary, from me, before I hand over to the real stars of the show, our teaching staff, what we stand for are the 3 pillars I started with. Ngātahi, whakapono, tūtuki. Together, believe, achieve. We have high expectations in terms of values and attitudes, and in terms of overall achievement. Our job as educators is to grow our amazing young people, and you have my word that we will do this to the best of our ability. To conclude, welcome to Whangaparāoa College. I hope that you enjoyed the tours of the school. You saw a snapshot of what we are about. Please do, as Mr. Williams said, come and feel free at any time, not only this evening, but come and feel free to visit us and make sure that the selection of schools, whether it's here or another school, is right for your young person. It is a big step, and we fully understand and respect that. Anō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening.
Of the teaching and learning program in Year 7, so the home environment that the Year 7 kids will come into. So Lisa's going to talk you through a bit more of the nitty-gritty of how the day looks, what subjects, where you go, all of those sorts of things for you. So Lisa, all yours.
Kia ora tātou. Nice to take my mask off. Far enough away from you to be able to do further away there. It's awesome to see so many people here tonight. I always get really excited at this time of year, seeing the Year 6s and meeting new learners, parents and their whānau. The children's excitement is really infectious. I've seen 2 schools today that have come up and they're just oh, so excited. It's so cool. It bubbles over when you meet them. They're a little bit nervous as well, and probably so are many of you if this is your first time here and your eldest child is potentially coming to college. As a parent of 4 teenagers, I know what that feels like. Hopefully we can reassure you and answer some of your questions tonight. As head of learning for Year 7, my job is to oversee the curriculum and all of the learning. I work with an amazing team of excellent teachers who plan a really varied and exciting curriculum which helps each child reach their full potential. We plan lessons where learners work both independently and collaboratively to gain skills and knowledge that help them to become lifelong learners. Learning takes place in our homeroom class. It's much the same as it is at primary school. The school has 5 periods or lessons. Each one is an hour long. There's the timetable, or something like that, the timetable would look like. Anyway, the learners stay with their kaiarahi, or classroom teacher, homeroom teacher, most of the time. The difference here at college is that they get to go off to experience the college's specialist facilities, some of which you've seen tonight, and equipment for some of their lessons. We call these lessons tasters, as they give the learners a taste of the subjects that they might like to study later on in their college journey. Taster lessons include a variety of subjects. I'll go back to that one. You can't see the ones at the bottom, I don't think, but you can see some of the tasters from this year. They have more traditional options subjects like art and materials tech and food tech, and some different subjects like performance, which is a combination of music and drama and dance. They have things like William Pike Challenge, mindfulness, digital technology, and future problem solving as well. In class, we endeavour to engage every single learner and meet all of their needs, no matter where they're at with their learning. We teach the core subjects of English, Maths, Science, Social Science, Health and PE, and also Māori, as well as the key competencies of the curriculum, which includes things like managing self and participating and contributing. The work is varied and can be written work or group work, working on devices or in books, individually, in pairs, or as part of a team. We have lots of awesome activities as well where we work outside the classroom too, including a snorkeling trip, and I've got some photos there. We go and work on the conservation in the local area, work on our wetlands. We also go further afield on a variety of trips, like Howick Historical Village, Auckland Museum, and the Auckland Maritime Museum as well, where we go on a boat under the harbour bridge, and if the learners are really lucky, we get to see somebody bungee jumping from below. We have visits from St John's, who run a first aid course, the Attitude Group, who run workshops on puberty, which is always fun, and tweens to teens. We have ASB financial literacy courses and a VR conservation experience as well. Now, one of our big highlights for learners and teachers alike is going to camp. And next year it will be Camp Adair again in the Hanua Ranges. We all had a really fantastic time this year. It was extremely successful, and it was great to finally get there after a couple of years of postponements and cancellations. There are many confidence building and teamwork activities on the camp that encourage learners to take on new challenges and adventures. These include orienteering, archery, firelighting, cargo climb, confidence course, high beam, the leap of faith, I didn't do that one, and the climbing wall, I did do that one. And the experience for the learners is invaluable, and it helps them to experience success outside the classroom as well, to create new friendships and build relationships with their teachers. We try to engage learners at the start of their college life and encourage them to get involved and try as many activities as they can. We want it to be a year where they form great friendships and enjoy their learning. I'm very proud of what we offer in Year 7 at Whangaparāoa College, and it's a real privilege for me that I get to watch our tamariki begin their college journey and get to know them and you right from the start. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all next year. Kia ora.
Thank you, Lisa. So that's the learning side of the classroom. The other side of the school is obviously being in and around all the other people. And so a lot of that gets taken care of by the coyote, the subject teacher. But overarching each year group at our school, we have a dean who's in charge of pastoral matters, well-being of kids, celebrations, all of those sorts of things, and occasionally stuff that doesn't go quite as well as we'd hope. So I'd like great pleasure to introduce Jason Brackett, who's the Year 7 dean today.
Good morning, everyone. I'd just like to begin by sharing a little bit about myself so you can get to know me and know who I am for next year. So I was born and raised in Auckland, and I attended St. Peter's College, and I'm very proud of my college, and I had an awesome time at school. And that's kind of why I decided to become a teacher. It was because I wanted to help our learners be proud of their college experience and enjoy their time at school. So that's why I became a teacher. And now I've been working at Whangaparāoa for 6 years now. And I recently moved to the area, and I love our community, and I love our school, and I love our young ones. And I have a really enjoyable job, and these are some of my main roles that I do day to day with our young learners. So I'm kind of a link between the whānau and the school. I support the kaiarehi and the learners with any issues that they might be experiencing throughout the day. I help maintain the hauora of our learners and ensure that they're getting the best experience that they can. I assist with transitions, so for the next few months when we transition our Year 6s into Year 7, I'll be there to help guide and to help answer any questions for them. And I'm kind of a sounding board and someone that they can connect with to help their journey through to college. And my most enjoyable part of my job, and something I really try and value, is to celebrate the success of all our young learners. There's some amazing things that take place. They do such awesome work, and they achieve so much, so it's really important that we celebrate what they do. So that's who I am, and I look forward to meeting you all next year. Thank you.
That's the main two key figures within the Year 7 environment. So the teaching and learning and the pastoral care. Some of your learners will come with some significant needs to the learning, both top end and bottom end, and we'll find some challenges in their learning. And so next on stage we've got Rob Carty. Rob Carty is our special needs coordinator. He's someone who, if your young people are either of those ends of the learning spectrum, he's the man to connect with to make sure the plans are in place and the support is in place. So Rob.
Thanks, Graham, and kia ora, everybody. As Graham said, I'm the Sankoa College, or the Head of Learning Support. I guess my core business is to advocate and support for all the learners with additional needs, try to raise awareness around learning difficulties and challenges that they face, and, as Jason said, celebrate those successes. How I do that is quite varied. Lots of meetings, meetings with parents, meeting with learners, meeting with outside agencies, with teachers, loads and loads of meetings. On that note, when you fill out the enrolment forms, if your son or daughter does have any additional needs, please tick that box, and myself or one of the team will do the enrolment interview to make sure that we gather that information, because a big part of what I do is collating, collecting, sharing, summarising information so that teachers are informed about the additional needs that learners might face, as well as funding applications, organising teacher aids and extra support that might be available in the classroom. Jason also mentioned transition support. I work closely with Jason and Lisa around those transitions as well. And some learners need extra support around that transition, and we've got a program, and information will come out to the primary schools probably later this term around our Kickstart program, which is a really neat program we've got that just helps those learners that are a little bit more anxious than others about coming to college, so they get a bit of a head start, get to meet some key people, become a little bit more familiar with the school, and we can answer questions that they might have. And that's me. Thank you very much.
Now, when I think back to quite a while ago now, when I was the age of you young people, a bit older, school sort of fell into two parts for me. The stuff I had to come and do, which was the learning and in class and all that stuff, and then the stuff I wanted to do, which was things in the arts, in culture, in sport, and all the stuff that makes school really, really, really fun on top of the learning, which is obviously really important. So the next two people are the people who lead that side of school. So first up, Emma Williams, who's our Director of Cultural Arts, all our extracurricular arts program. So Emma.
Alright, because I basically live in this environment, and I'm the creative one, I'm not going to stand over there, and I don't need a microphone either. So, cultural arts. It's performing arts, really, but there is quite a lot to it, and it is more of a cultural nature, because it's inclusive, it involves everybody, anybody that wants to have a go at something, we're up for the challenge. So it is cultural arts, but you might think of it more as performing arts. So one of the things that it includes is dance. There is show quests that we try to do with Year 7 and 8 in particular, which is a big regional, it's almost a competition, but it's so much fun that it's not a competition. You go into the city and you perform on a massive stage, which is an opportunity that not many people will get to do. To be actually in a professional environment, in a theatre, and performing on the stage. And basically it's open to anyone. If you can move, alright, you can be involved. So it's a great opportunity to be involved in. If you are more of a dancer, we have those opportunities as well. So there's something that's been established this year called Dance Squads, which is dance. So if you're really into dance and you want to have a go at that and go to some of the competitions, some of the festivals, etc., then there's those that you can get involved in. Drama, obviously productions. Productions are a big thing in drama. I'm not going to mention the dreaded word of the last 3 years. We have been trying to put on Aladdin Junior, the musical, for 3 years now. Fingers crossed, I think we've just about done all the auditions, ladies, over there, that have helped and done all the auditions. Hopefully we will have a cast, and hopefully we will be on this stage in November with a musical production of Aladdin for the junior, which is Year 7, 8 and 9. Alright, so that's a big thing, and we're really looking forward to it, we're excited about that. Music is another big thing. You can probably guess there's a bit of a setup behind me. There is a Year 7 band programme, which includes lessons, music lessons, instrument lessons in like little groups, and then you're part of the Year 7 band. It's a really good programme. It's a really cost effective, because I know, believe me, I've got a son that is doing private drum lessons and guitar lessons. They're in school, but they're with a private tutor, and it costs a lot of money. The Year 7 programme is a really good, cost-effective way of learning an instrument, so it's really good with that. That that leads on, hopefully, to being in year 8 band, concert band, rock school. If you're in, you probably, yeah, you would have heard of rock school. You kind of listen that, okay? Rock school. And then there is something that is called big band. When you're in big band, I think you've probably made it. Hey, Rosie, you sing in big band. So, you know, if you've got to big band, then that's really good. All right, so lots of music. Then we've got cultural groups. We've got junior and senior kapahaka. I think there's probably in junior kapahaka, there's getting on for 80, 90. It's a big group that perform, sing, lots of different things. That's really good as well. There's Pacifica groups. We're really trying to include like different cultural groups. So Pacifica groups. Hibiscus Tuacana, some of you probably heard of Hibiscus Tuacana. And again, they go into festivals, competitions. We had our Matariki festival with other schools, which is a really good way of getting together in the community. The other thing is that usually coming here, because it's 7 to 13 school, quite often it's those big, bad, big people, like those yearlings. What are they? And they're not that nice and what have you. I think in the cultural arts, performing arts, it brings everybody together. So quite often the seniors are interacting with the juniors. They're teaching them, they're working alongside them, they're working together, and it's a really nice, kind environment. And I think it just sort of shortens that gap between those big bad people, because they're not that bad, right? They're not bad at all. All right, so lots of opportunities. I've given you a massive big list. You have to be proactive, all right? Your child has to listen out for the notices, look at what's available, put their hand up, come and see the people. Quite often I'm like Mrs. W because we've got Mrs. Williams. We used to have Mrs. we had Miss Warashini, but she got married, so and she's foster now, so it's not quite so difficult with the W's. But I'm usually Mrs. W and you're Mrs. Williams. So, you know, you've got to sort of like put yourself out there and grab those opportunities. All right? So really looking forward to seeing you next year. And yeah, thanks very much. Okay. As is always as well in the performing arts in particular, you have to be flexible. You have to jump in, but I didn't jump into this one because it would have been a disaster. But our conductor of our concert band is sick at home, and it was like, oh my goodness, I can't conduct a band. That would be an absolute disaster. I can do most things, but that is one thing I cannot do. So, Mr. Whangaparāoa, our music teacher, also our head of music, is sick. So, yeah, getting a teacher. So Mr. Whangaparāoa is a music teacher, and he literally practiced while you were going around on the tour with the concert band. So can we have a real big round of applause for
of young people there, especially when you consider that it was a normal conductor and they put it all together. So that, and as you said, rock school before that you would have heard from wherever you were on the school grounds. Really, really cool experiences. Now, second one. Mr. Joe Duffett, Director of Sport, and also the teacher in charge of our house competitions. So, Joe, all yours.
I don't know what I'm going to say every class, it's all good. The music part is fantastic. $200 is what my daughter pays for a whole year worth of piano lessons. She's tried, I don't know, a squeaky thing for a year. It is torture for you as a parent. They will bring this thing home, but you'll never have as cost-effective access to music lessons as you have at this school. I believe anyway. So that's enough about them. Mr. Progress said he has the best job in the school, but I know I do. I basically get to wear what I want to come to school. I can wear shorts every day. I basically get to think of the most ridiculous thing I can get the kids to do, and then I get to try it on them and turn it into a house event. So we run 4 houses. Every child will be placed into a house, and that will be with their kayaan here, and they go through the school and they represent their house. And they will compete either individually or as a class versus other classes. So we have dodgeball, pavement art, chess, tug of war, chaos. Chaos is like a whole school manhunt where everyone's chasing everyone and everyone's hiding for a whole week. Insane. Lip sync is one of the highlights. One has got talent. We have some amazing singers, comedians, poets coming through. Here are here to castles, get on the island, travel, sports, cross country. Basically, we try and put on as wide a programme as possible for as many kids to find something that they might love to do at school. And it's all about having fun, it's all about connecting with other people, it's all about healthy, competitive, non-device activity. That's one part of my job. The other part of my job is I get to run the sports programme. My background, I was at Loughborough Uni and Cambridge Uni, and then I finally came out here, and I spent 9 years at Honor College. So I then went back to the UK and worked in the private school there for a little bit, and then I came back here, and I was very lucky enough to be given this job by Lisa White, actually, thank you. And she put me into this job, and I loved it. It's an absolute privilege to be involved in sport at this college, and I believe we now offer the best programme at 7 and 8 in the whole uni. So I've been at those others. I've been at Ottawa. I see every other school. We go to every single zone day. So today we had kids at the rugby zone day. We had kids out on the tough mud course, all from 7 and 8. They went to do tough mud. Last week we had netball zone day. There are zone days for everything you can think of: tag, swimming, gymnastics, sailing. Some we organise and we take, others will be individual, and as a parent you will need to take staff. But if you have an interest and there's an option to go for a zone day, that's the same as in the school. On top of that, we've run, last I looked, there was 104 different groups running, of different sports running at the moment at the school. And we run, for the 7s and 8s, we sort out basketball, netball, hockey teams, water polo teams, are organised by the school. Sports like football and rugby are still run by the club at 7 and 8. Okay, in year 9 to 13, they come. We run those as well, but up till year 9, they are run by the club. We still go to zone days for rugby, for football, for futsal, but they tend to be run by the club. We go to tournament we're going week 7 of this term. We are taking Ames teams down to Whangaparāoa. It's the largest event in the Southern Hemisphere. It was 15,000 students a year. We would go down there and represent their schools, and it's a whole national competition for 7s and 8s. Which teams we enter each year, it sort of depends on which group of kids are coming through. This year we're taking Ripper, netball, Ames football boys, Ames football girls. We've got some swimmers going, we've got some kayakers going, we've got some canoeists going, and we have got somebody else going. It might be a rock climbing, I think. There's so many things you can go for Ames. Okay. My highlight is something I introduced 2 years ago. So a number of the schools go, and it's a school versus school competition down in Matamata near Cambridge. And from all the kids in 7 and 8, we run a series of trials, and we will pick the best 32 kids to represent the school. So we were down there last term, I think it was the end of last term, and we went up against Belmont, Kingsway were there, Takapuna Normal were there, Rotatuna were there, and you have school versus school, and you will compete in literally 60 sports: baton, croquet, volleyball, the big ones, rugby, basketball, wall ball, scramble. There is hundreds of sports down there over the whole week, and we take the best 32 kids to represent the school. North Cross go, Glen go, so we will go, and we will compete against 7 or 8 different schools that week. It's a brilliant week away, and it's my highlight of the year because it truly is an amazing experience. I haven't got really, I won't cover anything else from 9 to 13, but if you are here for 9 to 13, I'll be outside afterwards. If you've got any questions for me, I'll be up in the outside area. All right?
Now, 2 people in the audience are parents of present learners at school, and I'm not sure whether they got full disclosure, but they've come here to give you some thoughts of parents who've been in the school for a little while. So people who've got their own young people in the school in a couple of different years. Just to give you a little bit of insight what it's like to be as a parent. As I said, please be gentle with them because I don't think they realise 2 things. Number 1, it was in the auditorium, and number 2, there would be so many people looking at them.
Right, so I managed to sort of catch these 2 into... I haven't offered anything, maybe I should have. They did it without me having to offer anything. So, so Dan and Fiona both have got children in year 7 this year. So they've actually, they're parents of children in my class. So I know them pretty well. So Fiona's got Izzy in my class, and Dan's got Josh in my class, and Fiona's also got Lockie, who's in year 9 as well. So I knew him when he was in year 7 as well. So we know each other quite well. And these guys as well, I managed to get to come on camp. So I think they deserve a round of applause for coming on. And I just thought it might be nice to get their take on how their children have found year 7. So I've got a few questions. I'm just going to sort of direct it to both of them and let one of them answer or both of them answer. So the first one that I got was, did you have any concerns about your kids coming to Whangaparāoa?
I think as a parent, everyone has a concern when their children are starting the college or intermediate college. I was lucky enough to have gone through this 3 years ago with my oldest son. And yes, there were concerns, just the standard stuff, you know, are they going to be okay with the older children and things like that. But I have to say that my children, both of them, one who's quite anxious, the younger one, and my older one who's pretty confident, neither of them have had any issues. And we just really loved the whole sense of community. The older children are really lovely to the younger children. So any concerns that we did have, albeit minor, we just don't have them. My kids have both really loved being here. So.
Oh, kia ora. Joshie had gone through cancer last year, and he'd gone through bone cancer, so taken the whole year off. And there was definitely anxiety from him and us around whether he'd be up to it and if he could hack it. And he was getting more and more nervous up to the start day. And then
the first day, he came back from the first day and he loved it, and he's never looked back, and just we've had no concerns since. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I just thought I'd throw some ones out there that are sort of the minor detail ones, but a lot of people get concerned about. So, home learning or homework expectations. How have you found that?
I found it really manageable. I guess we've had 2 or 3 years worth of getting used to it, and Josh is pretty self-sufficient when I can get him off roadblocks. But he's definitely keen for the learning, and I think it's quite manageable.
Yeah, I agree with Dan. The homework is manageable. If you've gone to Whangaparāoa Primary, there is no homework. So you might be worried that they're going to come into school and think, oh gosh, we've got so much to do, are they going to be prepared? But it's very manageable. My daughter is an absolute perfectionist. She likes to make sure she gets everything done, and she's not been concerned, she's not worried, she gets it done quite easily, and she actually enjoys it, surprisingly enough.
That's really cool to hear. We do try with the homework to make it manageable for the learners, and we focus mainly on maths and reading. So we give them small amounts of it. Sometimes they'll get something for another subject as well to bring home to finish off. But the main idea is that they have lots of fun and get involved in lots of extracurricular stuff. So that's the main idea. The college is a BYOD, bring your own device school. Did you have any difficulties setting your child up with computers, devices when they started?
No, I don't think that's happening. No, well, our children had them at the primary school, so it was very simple. They came to school and came home and knew what they were doing, so I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, no, there was no issues for us either. Joshy didn't have it at Stanmore Bay Primary, but he definitely loved the idea of being able to use it at school and get more used to using it and learning as well. And he's been all good.
Awesome, that's great. I don't know that we do need this actually. I probably, the one that people will most want to hear would be, what has your child enjoyed most this year? We're halfway through the year. What's the thing that they've really enjoyed? You talked about sport.
I think as a whole, everything, being at school for one thing, it's been a lot more settled this year. I think making new friendships, trying lots of different things, lots of different sports and performance classes and all the taste of things. Just, my daughter just absolutely loves it. Actually said to me the other day, Mum, I should really love going to school. So, it's a really positive thing in my eyes.
Joshy loved the tasters to do all sorts of different things, and he started with saxophone as well. And yeah, as you say, he would not normally give that a try, and we couldn't probably afford to buy one for him, so we've got that in this room at the moment. And the other one he likes is Maui. He loves shout out to Uncle Josh, and yeah, they do a really good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good.
And you guys went on camp with me.
Yes.
What was your experience of camp? So I'm sure all the kids and the grown people were
It's the best camp ever. The kids are going to absolutely love it. It was an amazing experience. I felt really lucky to actually be part of it and do that. It was challenging and exciting, and there was something for everybody, and the kids were amazing. Kids that said at the beginning, oh, I'm scared of that, I don't want to jump off a 12-metre high pole into the air. My daughter being one of them, and they were saying, I'm terrified, but they did it, and it was just, what a confidence boost. And the teachers all getting involved, Lisa pulling through Mark, everyone just got involved, and it was just a really amazing experience. The kids absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I loved it, and it was a great bonding experience with the parents, but also for Joshy, he coming coming through cancer, and I said, you don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but you go do everything. And also the teammates came in and helped as well. You know, the teachers did amazing. It's just an awesome experience.
The parents were amazing too. So yeah,
The scary stories around the campfire was.
That was the highlight. We were terrified. Yeah. Have either of your kids, I think you've already touched on this, Fiona, had any problems with the older learners at college? No. So my oldest is year 9 this year, and I was always concerned because he loves sports. He's like, oh, is he going to go out in the field and get bullied by kids playing rugby and things like that? But he's been up there and playing up there since he was sort of year 7. And I actually said to my daughter a couple of days ago, you know, are you ever worried about the older kids? Are they mean or do they? No, Mum, they don't. And I said, well, do you just say in the year 7 area? And she said, no, not all the time. We go and play volleyball, we go and do this. And she said, everyone's really nice, Mum. They're not going to be mean to us, you know. So, yeah, not at all. Not at all. That's really cool, guys. I know that there might be some time to ask a few questions at the end, and I'm sure these guys will be there as well if you want to ask them some questions. And we've got Mrs. Foster's down here, year 7 teacher, so I can get her to wave, and I think Mr. Casson's here somewhere as well. But if you want to ask more questions, feel free. I don't know whether either of you have got anything else to add.
Just, well, we love the school and definitely love Lisa. She's amazing. And I've never done it before, but Joshy gets to prepare his learning goals and present that to us in the class. It's a really cool task. And he gets to stand up there and present to us as a company. And it was a really cool thing.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add that I really love the new initiative of mindfulness and looking after the children's mental health, especially at a time where it's been so difficult. It's something that you guys really focus on, and I think that's really important. And just everyone that we've done with as a family has been amazing. So I just feel like it's a great sense of community in the school. It's really positive, and there's lots of positive talk in the community about, you know, how far Whangaparāoa has come and what it's got to offer. And, you know, we as a family can't say why we can't, you know, we really positive. So, that's great.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Tim. That was awesome. Well done. Of course, there's no wrecking as you thought it was going to be, was it? No, absolutely. Cool. So one last step, and I'm sorry, Rosie, I've left the head girl till last, which is a little bit tough. But she is the last thing we've got. So she's been given a bit of a time limit, and Rosie talked quite a bit like myself. So she'll stick roughly to that, and then after that, I said there'll be a few questions which Steve will be able to field, and then we'll go and get ourselves some pie and some tea and coffee to finish the evening off. So Rosie, the floor is yours.
Awesome! Kia ora everyone, my name is Rosie and I'm the proud head girl of this amazing school. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today. So I'm just going to tell you a bit about myself. So Whangaparāoa is very, very special to me because my brother and sister were both previous learners here. So I attended all the productions and ate all the chocolates at the award ceremony. So I felt like an honorary student since I was about 5, which has been really cool. When I started year 7, I thought it was pretty cool saying hi to the big year 13s. However, I was very stubborn and I refused to be left in the shadow of my siblings. So I feel as though Whangaparāoa College gave me the opportunity and the resources for me to step out on my own and make my own path in the school. Whangaparāoa College has such a variety of different things to get involved in. I was spoiled for choice, so I decided to do everything. I joined the choir. I sang my first solo, which was from The Little Mermaid. Do you remember that one? I competed in athletics days. Running was my go-to, but I tried shot put, discus, javelin, long jump, high jump, everything. I was abysmal, but it was a real laugh. I spoke in the year 8 and 9 speech competitions where my knees were knocking so badly I thought I was going to fall over. such a cozy place to chill. Every week, Sam, the librarian, she puts up riddles for us to solve and puzzles for us to put together. The school cat, Gunther, one of his names, I think he might be Bob too or something, but he was in there the other day and he cuddled up in my lap and it was so lovely. Lastly is this very auditorium. It always amazes me how many people can fit in here, and it makes for such a supportive environment. When performances occur, having a whole audience laughing and clapping along, it just makes, for a little year 7, it's such an amazing feeling, so I'm so happy we have this facility. And I love how much this space offers.
We have an online portal in which you can log on as a parent and you can see absolutely everything that your child or your learner is doing, from attendance to making sure that they're at every period, and you can be that parent that checks in on them if you really wish all the time, as well as logging on every morning. You can share the daily notices and you can read exactly what's going on so that you're up to date with what is happening in school in every single format. All the notices they get, you get too. The main point of contact though for you as parents is with the karahi, the whānau teacher, the teacher that is your main point of contact, particularly at year 7. When you get into year 8 and up, you'll have one point of contact in terms of the karahi. You'll stay with that karahi all the way through. Your learner will stay with that karahi all the way through from year 8 to 13 as well. Cool. Awesome. Phew, past that one. 2 more to go before I let you go. It's like detention, isn't it? Have we got another one at the back? No? Yes?
What are the class sizes, please? Are they go from the learning environments or smaller classes?
Yeah, so hopefully if you were able to join the tours, you saw some of the year 7 setups, and most of the school is set up very similar to that. So our class sizes, we like to try and keep them under 30 learners per class in terms of numbers of learners, and there is some interactions around how we do things from a class-to-class basis, and there is some variation. In a perfect world, once we get a few international learners back, we try and reduce that to about 28 absolute maximum. Last question before you go. Come on, it's getting late. Someone's got to be brave. Yes, last one. Thank you. Awesome. So, daily notices, they'll get signed up, but that man just behind you on your left, Mr. Duffett, yep, the one looking around, he's the one. Basically, he lives in the gym in his sports kit, as you saw. He's big, tall, got a big voice as well. You can hear him a mile away. Okay, you'll spot him. Any questions, you just go straight to him.
If you want to follow us on Whangaparāoa Sport Facebook, Whangaparāoa Sport Facebook, and it's also one of the newsletters. When the news comes out, we send out a newsletter once a week.
Fortnight, sorry.
Once a fortnight newsletters that will tell you what's happened, what's coming up. So it's all relevant.
Awesome. Lastly from me, just before we do let you go, so you're not on detention, all of the enrolment details are on here. If you want to come and ask us some more information, you're more than welcome to at any time. Send us an email, give us a phone call. From a planning perspective, if you know that you're coming to Whangaparāoa College, we'd really appreciate you completing that process earlier rather than later. But if you are undecided, fully understand and respect that, and go right back to what I said right at the start of this evening. You've got to do what's right for you and your whānau and your learners. So I fully understand and respect that as well. I hope you enjoyed this evening. Hope you got something out of it. Worst case scenario, you can get a cup of tea out of us on the way out. Have a lovely evening, everyone.